turn that on right now, Real.
Okay.
So over to you, Real.
Okay, great. Well, thanks again, John, for that lovely introduction and for the opportunity to be here. I'm so glad to be. Craig and I are so glad to be partnering with you inside our shared commitment to make a difference to business owners and to the face of business. What we're really going to be talking about today is the opportunity to access a particular grant the Victorian Government has on offer at the moment. And it's got a fairly wordy title. It's called the Victorian Innovation Skills Voucher Program. And essentially what it means is the government wants to assist in increasing business owners' skills in a variety of areas, entrepreneurship, and some technical terms they call convergent skills and advanced skills, and essentially what they're talking about is anything to improve the innovation, productivity, systemization, and health, overall health of the business. And look, why they put it together is that they want to be seen actively helping the small business sector and promoting growth across Victoria. Really, it's about driving productivity, innovation, and innovation can mean several things. It can mean that you are an innovative business doing something literally innovative, new technology, new manufacturing processes, something actually innovative. It can also mean that you are ready to innovate, that there's something you want to innovate in your business, something you want to change, grow, and improve. So essentially, it really is just about expanding what's possible in a business and expanding that through driving the skills of the owners of that business. Now, 10X and BSI are sister companies, and we won the rights. We're one of 13 providers only in Victoria that won the rights to deliver this program. And we won those rights because of our history of making a difference in the SME market, in the small business market over many, many years. And given our history and experience of working with John, we felt, John and myself felt that this was a unique way to connect you into the grant potentially and deliver what John and myself and Craig share a commitment to, which is making a difference to business owners like yourself. So really what we wanted to talk about today was what that looks like, what the grant's about, how you qualify for it, and what the process is to actually have you potentially benefit from it. Like anything, the grant requires you to, like any kind of grant where you get money from the government, there are certain hoops to jump through and certain criteria to meet, but we found that given it's about innovation skills and driving new skills to grow a business in entrepreneurship and so on, there really is quite a bit of reach in terms of the types of businesses that can apply and are successful. So we've had everyone from tourism-based businesses, clothing designers, retail businesses, manufacturers, earth movers, dairy farmers, just a huge range of, even a business that sells blinds. A huge range of businesses have qualified for these grants. And it's really because the nature and scope of innovation is so broad. So what did they really want in terms of outcomes? Well, they want to see systemic change in the business, so not just talk for talk's sake, but actual change in the business. They want to see productivity gains with businesses from their participation in the grants. So now, one thing to note is that services that are considered normal, a normal part of business, aren't eligible for this. So we couldn't say what we're going to do is we're going to do a business plan together, because they would expect that was a normal course of business. But what we can say is that we're out to alter how the business does certain things to produce a different results. But essentially, this grant's about changing how an SME operates, and they're looking to impact certain areas. So specifically they want to see new entrepreneurship skills, driving the growth of the business, increasing the profitability of your business, which is always good because that's the money that goes to you, and also obviously that's the money that drives the value of your asset. Developing staff and increasing employment. Any government's interested in small business employing more. And they also want to see businesses making new links and new relationships. And they actually want to give the money away. They want to meet certain targets by June 30. Now, there's less than 100 grants available now. They've been so popular, and we've done a pretty good job of making them available to people that there's well less than 100 left, and the program closes in June. So we are hitting that point where it's very time sensitive. That if you want to see your business grow and develop and change, and you're open to getting coached and mentored and increasing your skills to be able to do that, the government will fund $10,000 of that work. You'll put in $2,500. This is the maximum that they'll do and the maximum that you have to pay. But to do that, we've got to get in and get moving, because the grants are going to run out of the dollars soon. So there's limited spots before June 30, and the process takes about 4 months in total. So really, if you're going to benefit from this grant, we've got to get moving on this in January, which is great timing, because obviously it's the kickstart of a new year, and we can really get some things moving in that first 2 quarters of next year by the programs that we deliver together with John. So what does the process provide you? The government will pay up to $10,000 in funding towards various support to innovate, improve, and grow your business. And that includes coaching programs like the ones that we are delivering with John. So in other words, the government will pay for us, for John and myself and Craig, to work with you to increase the productivity and profitability in your business, which is, of course, good. Now, that needs to be matched by you to at least 25%. So if we went and got you $10,000, you'd have to put in $2,500 towards the program. But that's if you consider normally you'd be paying $2,500 a month to get coached in some instances, that's pretty good value to put in the $2,500 and then get coached for another 3 or 4 months, and the government pays for it. Now that $10,000 that the government's willing to pay up to can be used on our programs that have been accredited under the skills voucher, and these range from what we call a coaching club, performance coaching, and focus coaching, which I can talk more about in a minute. And those are integrated now with Craig and I doing the face-to-face work with you here in Victoria, and John doing online work with you from the beautiful Bali. So who would typically qualify for this? Essentially, any kind of business where we want to sort of intervene into the normal sort of how we do it here, where we're looking to innovate, improve, grow, drive the business. Essentially, they want to see that we're going to make a very real difference in how you operate and the business, the results that you produce. Ideally, you would be innovative in some way, you would have some point of difference, but we've also found that in almost every business that is actually true. Once we do our business performance review process, we usually uncover some really great things that almost every business we've put through this process has something innovative that they're doing that's unique to them, and certainly people who are interested in the kinds of things that the Entrepreneurs Institute offers usually certainly meet that criteria. So, and maybe you do some research and development. It might be in your products you offer or the service you offer. It might just be in how you do things, but that's not too much of a point. Mostly, it's about this: you must have the ability and desire to expand and grow. If you are wanting to innovate how you operate your business, you want to innovate how you think, you want to innovate your own entrepreneurship skills, you want to improve and grow the profits and revenues and ability of that business to contribute back to the community, you meet the criteria. But you must have the ability and desire to expand and grow. which pretty much people who put themselves in a proactive situation like you have today and come onto a call like this or play this recording usually meet that criteria. So, John, anything you'd like to ask me or comment on so far?
Will, I think you're covering it really well. I just want to
No?
probably, can you hear us? Hello?
Yes.
Will? Ah, brilliant. It sometimes with Bali internet, you never know when it's going to show up or slow down. Yeah, I think you've really covered that really well from a perspective of, you know, when we spoke, the one thing that I was asking and what I want to get my head around was, what does a typical business look like that would fit in this, and really, other than what you've just said there, the big thing was that everybody has something innovative in them, or if they don't, they actually want to put something innovative into their business, and certainly whenever you do a bit of work with anybody in anyone's business, they may not actually see the uniqueness of the things that they're doing. However, what we do is we end up finding that, and we pry that out, and that becomes the uniqueness and the innovation that we put forward.
Absolutely. And it can also be that you're not doing something right now that you want to do, that if you did it would be innovative, but you want some assistance in getting that implemented. So say, for example, there's one business here in Victoria that we helped get them the grant, and they are a blinds and shutters business. Well, they wanted to innovate their process when they went out on site, so they went out to a client's home. They wanted to have all their staff have iPads, and they wanted to actually be able to do the measurements and quote right there on the spot, versus do what they'd always done, which is do it on a bit of paper, take it back to the office, process it, turn it into a quote, and send it out to the client, blah, blah, blah. So they wanted to put something in that no one else was yet doing to speed up their sales process and their service process to the customer base, and they got the grant because there was something innovative they wanted to do to stand out in the market. So it's either you are likely doing something that's interesting and innovative right now. You may legitimately be in the innovation space. You may not be, but you're doing something interesting, or you want to be doing something innovative. So pretty much, it really is about you've got a good solid base. We want to grow from here, and we want to do something interesting and cool to grow the business. So it's a pretty open platform for us to explore what's possible in terms of the application, writing the grant application, and getting hopefully some support from the government to help you grow in 2014. So what's happened is that 10X has been approved to provide various programs that qualify for the grants. But we've since worked together with John to mould John's program and ours together for the best outcome for you, and the opportunity to potentially benefit from the grant to help you pay for it. So we believe this is the best of both worlds, where you get face-to-face local support here, and you get online big picture support from John with the global perspective, and we're here with the local perspective. So it should be a very cool process for those who go through it. So what are we really about? We're really about growing your business and your profits. What we do is we coach, train, and connect individuals, businesses, and organisations to help them grow. We do that through our various offerings. We do that through partnering with people like John. And essentially, it's about developing yourself as an entrepreneur, developing your business as a real vehicle for wealth and asset creation versus a fancified job that keeps you exhausted. And the government agrees that our work makes a difference, which is why we've won the rights to deliver this process. So our programs rapidly develop and improve your management leadership skills, new thinking, new strategies. And when I say our programs, I mean John and 10X's programs combined. Increase sales, improve marketing, develop and train your team, improve your overall operations and profits, and if appropriate, tap into R&D and export opportunities for your business. And all of that is what the government's looking for. So all of the stuff we do every day is what meets the criteria for this grant. So that's pretty cool. And the big thing that I'm finding at the moment with all the clients that we've got in the grants program is just real clarity and power. The ability to make some very concise and appropriate decisions and then have the wherewithal to actually go and implement it in a 3-month process. It really is a sort of a 90-day intensive where you just get stuff done and get things implemented. I was with one of our grants clients yesterday, and they've written 5 different papers over the last couple of years about where they want to take the business. And in one, what we call a strategy intensive, which is part of our process with every single client who goes in the grants process, they're now crystal clear about what they have to do, exactly when they have to do it, what they're doing, how they're doing it, to achieve a certain outcome in the next 2 to 5 years. So aside from all that other stuff I just said, really the clarity and power is what this is about. The ability to produce results faster and get stuff done, the right stuff done, and done in a structured way in a 90-day process really appears to be invaluable and saves a lot of time and heartache and stress faffing about unsure of where you need to be. So,
If I can add to that, Real,
yeah.
uh, a big part of what I bring into this, and certainly the stuff that we do in our 30-day incubator programs is all around highly effective, um, simplistic promotions, and this is all about, what can you do right now, which is really simple, which costs you nothing, which in actually creating it, it's effortless for you to deliver, or you don't have to deliver it physically in your own time, and is highly attractive to the market. And what can we be doing to get that out to our market, and how do we actually go about that so that we can start creating instant attraction, instant income from this process called promotions, and we take you through that process of, starting on looking at the next 4 quarters and saying, okay, so what promotions would I like to do in the next 4 quarters? We map that out, and then we start working on the first one with you, giving you the full process of exactly how to do that, so that by the time you finished your first quarter, you've actually run that, and you've got results from that, and you've got income flowing in from that, which in 4 months would effortlessly not only cover the outlay that you'll have on this, but it will probably cover the outlay that the government is throwing in as well, quite depending on what obviously products and stuff that you have. But we give you that real clarity on how you can do that. And of course, as Will said, we're coming in from a perspective of what if you were to do that without actually physically being in your business every single day. So we look at it from a global perspective, becoming a global citizen and being a global entrepreneur, and therefore commanding your business in a different way.
Yeah, so great. That's why there's such alignment between what we can provide people, John. It's very exciting. So the whole point, obviously, is to increase your revenues and improve your cash flow, increase your profits and your personal return on investment from the business. I've been was working with a client who's been in business 7 years, and honestly, after 7 years is just not getting the returns they should be getting personally from 7 years of hard work and effort. And in 3 months, we're going to take them from an offline business to an online and offline business, and probably produce more personal return on investment, financial and otherwise, in the next 3 to 12 months than they've seen in 7 years. So it's really about, what do you want? The thing that I've found in 24 years of consulting and coaching and growing people's businesses in 2 continents is really that people what we need to do is work back from what the outcome is you want from this business. If you want $1 million cash in your hand in 5 years' time or 2 years' time, then what gross revenue, if that's the profit you want, what gross revenue do we need to produce? And then how do we achieve that? And which promotions that John's talking about do we do? And what other channels do we need to go to? And what structures do we need to set up? That's really the whole game. And mostly what we do in business, having had my own small businesses as well, I fell into the same trap. You get so caught in this is where we are and this is where we want to get to, but you just get caught in that day-to-day and tend not to work backwards from that big picture goal and keep that eye on that big picture goal. So what's the personal ROI you want? What's the quality of life you want? And let's improve the overall health, innovation, effectiveness, productivity, security, and longevity. And something I'm passionate about is certainly let's improve the asset value. Let's turn this thing into an asset that you can move on and sell if you want, or keep and have it run without you physically having to be there every day. And how do you give back more from the process of growing yourself more is all part of this exercise. So there's a series of programs that are available, which is one's called Coaching Club, where we put you in a group coaching program with 7 other businesses. That's accredited under the grant. One's called Performance Coaching, where you get one-on-one intensive coaching, again approved under the grant. And one's called Focus Coaching, where we pick a topic. So we might do focus marketing, if marketing, lead generation, and making sure that you've got all your marketing channels online and offline working for you. And what are those, and do you know? And if you don't, or you're doing some, not all, what is that? So we do a 12-week intensive around marketing. We can also do a 12-week intensive around selling. Perhaps for you, the operations of the business are handled, the team's handled, you know what's required in terms of systems and process, but actually what you need is to increase your conversion rates and actually put some sales management in place. Or we can do focus team, which is about leading your team and getting more productivity out of your team. So Coaching Club and Performance Coaching are about the overall business, from every area of the business, from marketing, sales, operations, risk management, financials, legals, promotions like John's talking about, shifting your business away from it being so driven by you to a bigger picture entrepreneurial play, or developing where you are right now, or focus, which is where we just drill down in one really hot topic of marketing or sales or team. Usually what we find are those one of those 3 areas is typically the problem or the opportunity in most businesses. So there's a range of services available under the grant. And what we need to do is have a look at where you are and where you need to be, and what's going to give you the best bang for your buck out of that. If we employ that $10,000 from the government and we get that $10,000 from government, which program we put you in to make sure you get the best bang for your buck out of that time and the government's dollars, in combination with John's process. So then really we come to, I think, John, the process and how it works from here. So really, I should say too, in the programs that John and ourselves have put together under this grants process, you get some access to some amazing online resources. Over 100 what we call strategy guides, which is 10 to 20 pages each, with how-tos on just a vast array of business topics to help you really get across what you need to be doing, how you need to be doing it, and when. You get access to, John, I'll let you talk about the VIP access.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me just add to what you're saying there, Real.
Yeah.
It's seldom that somebody shows me a resource center that absolutely blows your mind. And when I saw what 10x have been putting together for the last decade, and have upgraded and kept fresh, and amazing videos being delivered. I must admit, just the resource center, or access to that resource center on its own, is just extraordinary. I've looked at resource centers from a number of larger coaching organizations who are very proud to say that this is what makes the value of our company, and this is what everybody gives us feedback on as being their greatest value out of what we deliver. And to be honest, I haven't seen anything to the level that you guys have put together. And of course, you spent a huge amount of money doing that. And from a position of knowing that the commitment to putting that together is going to give so much value back to everybody who comes through any coaching programs with you. So I want to first of all just applaud you on that, Real, and your organisation, because it really is an amazing feat to have done what you have done there. And just that alone is something exciting for us to have access to as well. So that's a
Yes,
massive
thank
part of
you.
it. It's my pleasure. The other part of it, of course, is VIP access. We have our program running in March in Australia. We're looking to run probably 2 or 3 different programs in Australia next year. So, what I can commit to instantly with this, or what we've agreed to, is that everyone who comes through this program gets VIP access to the Fast Forward Your Business program, the 10 top trends that we do with bringing Roger Hamilton over into Australia. So we have VIP access there. You'll join us at the luncheon, and all the entrepreneurs who come as well to that in Melbourne, and the speakers who will be on stage with him. So we get that as our gift, as being part of this, and also from our perspective, it gives you a different opportunity to kind of get your head around technology, future trends, and things that you can be looking towards that will again just spark a different level of innovation in you by being at that event.
Fantastic. So that, just to be clear, anyone who's in the grants program with our combined program has access to a huge, John nicknamed it when he first saw it, he nicknamed it the Vault. We call it Knowledge Builder, and it has a huge amount of access of strategy guides and online content for you to access to help you train your team and grow your business and clear your own mind about certain topics. And then, of course, that VIP access to some really critical programs in 2014 that will help you grow your business. Roger is someone that I've worked with now since, I think, about 2006 in different capacities and different events, and really has brought a huge amount of value to our foundation, and certainly my way of thinking. So that's a huge gift from John. So thank you, John. And then really, we should probably just talk about what happens now, John, which we probably want to introduce Craig at this time. And and I'll let you talk about that a little bit.
Perfect. Well, the next process, and as I mentioned, as we started this, is for anybody or everyone who's on the call, or who's listening to this recording, is to have an opportunity to put your hand up to say, this kind of sounds like something that I would really like to go through. This would be anyone who knows that, or considers that they may not be playing the game at the level that they want to be playing it. However, just get that by working with the right people, that and having the right level of accountability being set and held to, know that they'll be able to achieve the goals that they're really looking to achieve. So if that's someone like yourself, then this is the process that we've put together, which is what we've found the most nurturing process, the best way of us nurturing you through this, but also an amazing way of getting really effective, instant feedback on where you're at right now with your business, and helping you, kind of get that structure right, and start already doing things that help you move your business forward. And that's the process which gets delivered through Craig, which is the business performance review. So I'm gonna invite Craig on the call right now to just talk us through that. Craig, welcome to the call.
Thank you very much. It's great to be a participant today with you, and welcome everybody to our webinar. So a little bit of background on what I've been doing with the business performance reviews. I've worked with, I think, hundreds of businesses now in this process. And really, the first part of the process is I spend up to 3 hours with the business owner, and really it's the level of a boardroom discussions. So it's not pie in the sky stuff, it's not future based, it's where you are right now, and it's a very straight conversation. So we get very clear on where we are, what we really want to achieve, and ultimately what do we want the business to provide us personally, because ultimately that's why we're in business. We want the business to deliver a lifestyle, or to deliver us a business that's going to, perform ongoing and, lots of growth. So the first part of the process is a 3-hour intensive with me. Then I go away and write a report, and then we meet again for another 2 hours. We review all the areas that we discussed, and we come up with an action plan on where to next, and a guideline to the areas that we want to work on. And then that goes through to the grants process, and then that becomes the foundation document on where we're going to take your business over the next 3 to 4 months.
And I think, probably if I can just chime in there, the interesting thing, that we sort of nicknamed this business performance review. The business performance review is about that. It is looking at how is the business performing, but it's not against benchmarks or other people. It's against what you want the business to deliver to you at a certain point in time. Is it delivering what you want it to be delivering now? Could it be delivering more? Should it be delivering more? And if so, to what level? And where do you want to take this vehicle? So we've sort of nicknamed it the BEAR process, where we sort of lay it all on the table. There's nothing hidden. There's nothing you can come and say, you know what, this is really not what I wanted, or this is absolutely what I wanted, but I just want to tweak this or that. So it's really about bearing all the good, the bad, and the ugly, and doing so in a confidential environment with someone who's been there and done that. Craig and I have, as John has, been in business for ourselves for many, many years, and been there and done that ourselves. Made lots of big mistakes, made lots of big successes, and experienced the highs and lows of all of that. And so there's nothing that you can't talk about in this business performance review that would surprise us. And usually, because we're dealing typically with small to medium-sized enterprises, there's often a lot of complications that come with that. There's family involved sometimes. There's debt levels involved. There's things tied to the business that need to be addressed. So this session is really like a confidential, I guess, where we just look at where you are now, where you want to be, and what do we need to do to get there. And it's not a talk fest. It is really about, okay, remember I said before, this whole program about getting stuff done with velocity. You will come out of that first coaching session with Craig with a list of things that he'll go away and give you solutions to problems that you've had for some time. You'll go away with solutions to some issues that you've got to go and correct before your next meeting with him, and you'll have the tools to do that. And at that second meeting, it's a review of the report we've done. It's a review of what we need to say in the grant, if you qualify, of course, and then submitting that grant. So it's a very in-depth process of this business performance review. And there's just some people that some comments that people that have done these business performance reviews with Craig have said, which I don't know, John, if you've got them there, but there's one from a earth moving business that for a husband and wife team felt that the business performance review process was the first time in 20 years that they had not felt alone in their business. Can you say a bit more about that for us, Craig? Because I imagine that there's a lot of people out there who are working really hard, and I know in the businesses I've dealt with over these last 20-something years, often it can be a bit isolating for the business owner, because you can't, family who aren't in business don't tend to get it. There's not a lot of people you can turn to, which is why a program like this can be so valuable.
Yeah, well, this is a great client, and again, I really love working with them because you can add so much value. He was doing over $1 million, had a great business, but as we went through the process, he knew that there was lots of things to do, but he never actually managed the time or actually considered the impact on the business of not doing it. And what we were able to uncover, and this is just a quick example, he would go into the businesses that he was working, ducking his head, not wanting to get any more business because he was so busy. But what he realized in our conversation was that he was trading time for money. and his time is very valuable. So what would it look like if he took on a contractor to fulfill his role, and instead of him ducking when he went into businesses to pick up work or to deliver work, that he went in as the owner and as the salesman of the business, what would happen? Well, what happened was when he took that strategy, and he won a massive deal with a gas company to put a 120-kilometre pipeline in. And of course, it just transformed their whole business overnight. It was a huge contract. And from that work, he said, what we also created was some signage on his tractors and bulldozers. And then all of a sudden, all the other people in the mining company started knocking on his door and said, oh, well, your bulldozer's here. Can you help us with this? So it was a couple of very simple strategies for it, but it really did transform his business. And so now he does very little driving on the machinery, and he's now working on the business rather than in it. And it's really transformed their financial position as well. And it happened over a very short period of time. So for that client, they were very excited. And one of the many questions I ask as well is that, do you have a current will? That might seem to be a bit of an obvious question, but 90% of the business owners I speak to, they don't. And so I insist that he goes and went and got his will done, and he did that. So he came back the next week, and not only to say he's done his will, but to say his wife is pregnant. So, and it's something that he'd been considering for a long time and hadn't done it. So there's an accountability to this process as well, where there's an expectation that you actually deliver on what you're going to say you're going to do.
And you're supported to do that. And there's another that said, I'm now a restaurateur, Krista. I'm now re-enthused and invigorated about what's possible in my business. And this is just, some of the feedback from the business performance review process, the feedback from the grants process itself. This is the beginning of that process. The feedback from the grants process itself is the power and clarity that sort of decisive and intensive process brings. But Krista's experience was...
So Krista had a great restaurant, but what was happening is the head chef was really not, I guess, putting in enough work in the menu. And also, I just sat one day and looked at what was going in the rubbish bin from when people had completed the meals, and the meals were massive. And so her food costs have been really impacted. And I just got her to sit in front of the rubbish bin and just work out how much money was going in the bin. And so from that discussion, we sat down with the head chef, and what we got to was that really she wasn't capable of delivering a menu or delivering a level of the business around food costs and costings and creating menus. So ultimately we got rid of her, and we brought in a head chef that would deliver on our key indicators. And one of them was, we've got to reduce our food costs. And so they started to create some menu items that, one, were low in food costs, but what they also realized was a lot of the food was not coming back. So again, that made a massive impact, because if you save your money on food costs, if there's any restaurateurs here, that money goes straight to the bottom line. So just in that very simple discussion, that made a huge difference to her business. And of course, when the cash flow is great, you can start to apply other marketing strategies, which is what she's doing now.
Yeah, very cool. So I think your Earth Mover went from what couldn't see beyond being a $2 million business, and out of this process now has a target of being a $50 million business.
Yeah.
In a 5 to 7 year period, and restaurateur was similar in terms of she could see what the business could then deliver her if she really focused on her entrepreneurship.
Yeah, it was interesting as well, because they were living in a world of, this is all the business can provide for me. But once we went through this process, they got that actually they'd really undercut what they could, the value and the return they could get from their business. So it really shifted them in their thinking, and they became even more enthused in their business because they could actually see what was possible. And it was only after a 3-hour meeting I really got to experience everybody. There's a huge transformation in who they are as a business person, and then what they saw was possible.
And that really is the point of Entrepreneurs Institute. It's the point of iLab. It's the point of everything John does. It's the point of this grants program, is really to have you innovate and transform where you are now and where you want to be. And it's really about fulfilling what is truly possible for you in this business, and taking a look at what that's going to take, and then decisive, powerful actions to get it done. and do the right things in an intensive period that you can then build from. So John, you've made a request of Craig.
Yeah, yeah. I've asked Craig to deliver this process for us, and pretty much the process is about a $2,000 process that he goes through, and we've agreed to have that for everyone who comes on this call at $500, so that you can really get maximum value out of that program. But it's a process for us to actually be taking you through to the through to the grant process that allows you to then access additional funding in there. So from that perspective, thank you very much, Craig, for putting all that time that you're going to be doing and working with each one of the people that are going through there, and obviously the value that you're going to get out of that just as the start of the process is extensive, let alone everything else we spoke about over the next 4 months worth of the intensive program that we run off the grant from the Victorian Government. Should we go on and have a look at the actual voucher program and what that actually looks like?
Yes, how it works, absolutely. Yeah. So how the process works is that thank you, Craig. How the process works is that we do the business performance review as a standalone process. It's a 2-part process as described. It's normally about $2,000. Thanks to John, it's available. John and ourselves, it's available to those on the call today for $500. And that process is a standalone intensive mentoring process, and it also gives us the opportunity to qualify whether it's appropriate, you're appropriate for the grants application process, and if so, we get that application done during that process as well. From there, what happens is the government takes about 20 working days to sign off and come back to you and say, yes, you're approved, or no, you're not. If it's a no, you're not, you've gone through the business performance review process, you will have gotten enormous value out of that regardless, and then we can look at what other options exist for you, if appropriate. If they say yes, you're approved, then we will have submitted the application on a personalised program for you. Out of our approved programs we're allowed to deliver, we will have picked the best one for you, so that program will begin. All of our programs with John and ourselves here in this process with the grant start with what we call a strategy intensive, which is a 1-day intensive on your business and working backwards from the future. So we do that, and then we put you into your personalised coaching program for the next 3 months. So we put the application in during the BPR process. The government takes 20, up to 30, but usually about 20 working days to say yes or no. When they say yes, your $2,500, assuming we put in the grant for a request for 10, you have to put in 25%. So your $2,500 will fall due. Now, we can put in place a payment arrangement around that $2,500. We just have to be able to show the government you've paid that by the end of our coaching term. So you typically pay the $2,500, or it would go on a direct debit process, and then work begins. We do our strategy intensive and we start coaching you either in the group coaching format that suits you or the one-on-one coaching format that suits you. We do that for the next 3 months, 3 to 4 months. At the end of the process, the government, the reason they call it a voucher is they literally send a voucher for $10,000. You sign it, we sign it, saying that yes, we delivered everything we said, and you say yes, they delivered everything they said, and then a Justice of the Peace signs it, and when that happens, the government releases the $10,000 to us. I guess the interesting thing about that is we're putting sort of ourselves on the line, our time, our effort, our expertise for that 3 to 3 month period, and we're not getting paid by the government until the end, and the government will only pay when you've said yes, I'm happy, and we've said yes, we've delivered, and we have to say that in concert together, and then the government will pay. So we're very much on the hook to making sure that you get value out of the process. Otherwise, we're not going to get paid by the government, and we will have put in 3 months' worth of time and energy and expertise for naught. So in a way, that's a really, I think it's a pretty fabulous structure for you to know that we're on the hook to produce results with you. We also put you on the hook to make sure you implement, but it's just like going to a personal trainer, I guess. You get the abs when you do the work. So we make sure that that work happens in the 3 months and that we're fully there to support you in producing those results. And you, on the other hand, are assured, because if at any point you don't feel it's been delivered, then we're not going to get paid. So we're in it together. It is a partnership, a coaching, mentoring partnership between John and myself and Craig and you to produce the best possible outcomes and set you up for a massive 2014 and a great 2015. The work we're doing now, the work we do now in this first quarter of 2014 under this grants program really does set the tone and foundation for the business for the next 2 to 5 years. So it's not about the 90 days that we work together, it's about the next 2 to 5 years and getting that mapped in a 90-day process and getting the foundations laid and actions taken now that will produce you the asset you want in that time period. And the cool thing is the government contributes, assuming we can get you qualified and approved, the government will actually pay for you to do that work, and all you'll have to put in is the $2,500. So I hope that makes sense. John, any questions about that?
No, Earl, you've covered that so well. So the process from here, if you want to just add this as well with me, if this is something that you're going, you know what, this actually sounds like something that, number one, I can trust. Number two, I'm gonna get great value out of it because I have to do the work. I loved your comment. You know, you do the work, you get the abs, because that's exactly what happens. And of course, in saying that, it's not about you also doing the work. It's about us actually showing you how to do things differently, so that all the tasks that you have to do, you actually are removing your name from, rather than adding more tasks to the things that you need to do every day. Because
absolutely,
let's be truthful. We've all got enough to do every single day anyway. So we're showing you some far smarter ways of outsourcing and doing that, and actually having other people essentially provide the services to fulfill the tasks that you're looking to fulfill. And what you're getting as a business owner is an opportunity to sit on your own board and look at your business in a way that you may never have looked at your business before. And I think like anything, whenever you're sitting in traffic and it's bumper to bumper traffic, it's hard to kind of see where you start and where you're going, unless of course you jump in a helicopter and you go up, and you can then now see the perspective of what is actually going on and how the traffic is moving. And you can actually now see your destination. You can see where you've come from, and you can see the options of where you can be turning off and following different routes to that final destination. And I guess that's a big part of this for us, is allowing you to actually jump in that helicopter with us and together navigate your way to that end goal. So if that's someone that if you're that person who's saying, yes, that sounds like something for me, then the process from here is really simple. You want to just take down this email address. It's ryllb@10 the letter x.com.au. Send an email to roll@10x.com.au today at the end of the session and book that performance review. We do have limited appointments because obviously we're looking to fill this for you guys before the grant expires. So we're going to be doing those on January the 6th, 22nd, or the 29th, and that'll all be in Melbourne with Craig as he explained the process of that. And of course, there's of course 2 parts of that session as well.
So these, just to be clear, John, these are the initial meetings that take 2 to 3 hours, typically about 3 hours. Mm-hmm. So there's limited spots available, only January 6, 22 and 29, and Craig will make himself available to people for up to 3 hours per meeting. And after you've done the initial meeting, then Craig will set that second meeting with you where you sit down and go through the report and some other actions, and we get the grant application done at the second meeting. That will follow the first meeting. So what we need to do is just get those first meetings booked in and get them locked away. And if you're secured in that on those 3 dates, you're all good to go. And we'll take you through the full business performance review process, and also the grants. We are ticking. The government is running out of slots left for the grants, so we really need to get moving, which is why we're wanting to get it in and done and dusted for you in January, such that we can get this done before the grants run out. So it is a case of first in, best dressed. So I'd love you to email myself, and I'll make the arrangements with Craig for you at, as John said, ryllb@10x.com.au. On the 6th, the 22nd, or 29th, you can have your 3-hour initial spot.
Will, you have been fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing, so much in-depth information on this, and I'm sure everybody's got a huge amount out of it. If you have any questions on that, also send an email to Rill or myself. I think Rill's probably the best one as you get. She knows this inside out, the actual process of that. If you have any questions, that do send her an email. And we're looking forward to connecting with you. And certainly, I'm looking forward to, for everyone who comes along on this, being part of the magic that you're going to be creating in 2014. Thank you, everyone, for being on the call. Rill, thank you, and thank you, Craig, for sharing. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys here in Bali, because I believe that you're making plans to be here too. So that's exciting in the new year.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be great. So thank you, everyone. It's been great. And remember, it doesn't matter if you're small or big or whatever size or shape or nature of your business. If you're up for something and if you're up to innovate, then this really should be for you. And we look forward to a great 2014 with you. Thanks again, John, for having us.
My pleasure. Thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon, and make your week absolutely
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.